fucked up. I fucked up on a lot of things. Looking back on it now, like I just turned 20 less than a month ago, a couple weeks ago, and I mapped out everything from when I started in online business, when I was like 16, to now, and seeing all the little things that I could have done so much better, or should have done earlier, or all these things and all these bits and pieces. And what I really want to have with you guys is just like a sit down talk of what I should have known and what I could have done better. And obviously it shoulda, coulda, woulda, but the whole point for this is like, for any of you guys who are maybe under 20, maybe you haven't hit 20 yet, or you just started an online business, maybe you're older than me. If you are older than me, what I'd like to ask you is for you to drop your ego, and actually just try and listen. Obviously, I haven't done incredible. I mean, I would say what I've done is pretty incredible, at least in my eyes. I've hit 30K countless times, month and month again, and I love it there. That's like my choice of monthly income. So I'd like to ask you is just like, drop your ego. I'm gonna give you guys all the little bits and pieces and real tactical advice from my eyes of what I would have and should have and could have done differently. And I think honestly, just going into it head first on the topic of woulda, coulda, shoulda is waiting for that perfect moment. Like, waiting for that perfect moment was something that ruined me, because I remember starting my first coaching offer after my agency and always assuming the worst before anything even happened, right? Assuming that things aren't gonna go as planned and people aren't gonna purchase the thing, and all these little things about maybe people aren't gonna buy the product, maybe I won't be able to market it as well, maybe people won't believe that my results are real. Always assuming the worst of the situation that I haven't even put my head into yet, right? And I think it's like I touched my toe. The reference I use for that is like, there's cold water, you dip your toe in really quickly and you decide instantly that the deeper you go in, the colder it's gonna get. But the truth is, the more you stay in the water, the warmer it gets. Like, the warmer it gets when you're in cold water, right? You get your body acclimates to that. So I think for me, I was always waiting for the perfect moment to jump in, waiting for the perfect offer, waiting for all these things. But truthfully, you will not know if an offer is good or not if you don't put it on the market. And I think that's one thing I really, really fucked up with, is just like spending 6 months in analysis paralysis, sitting on my ass, seeing if the funnel is perfect, seeing if the VSL is perfect, making sure the offer is actually going to be perfect. So when I do launch it, then it blows up and I hit 30K in that day. When the reality of it is, you build consistently on a day-to-day basis to get to a point where you don't do a launch and instantly get a shit ton of people, but all the compounding effects of everything that you put into it from it being trash to now getting it better from feedback and all these things. Like I said, letting your body, letting the offer acclimate to the marketplace. I think that's something that I really messed up on. And another thing in terms of waiting for the perfect moment was not being myself. I think if you look back at this YouTube channel right here, you'll see posts. I did not delete them. You'll see posts from when I was, I think, 17 or 18. I just moved out of Hawaii. I grew up in Hawaii. I just moved out, and I moved to California with my girl. Just me and my girl. We moved into a super ghetto apartment, and you'll see videos of me running my marketing agency, and those videos are literally for flooring business owners. Like, I am speaking to flooring business owners, and I'll be honest, I hated it. I hated running my marketing agency solely for the fact of I was talking to really old people who don't speak a lot of English. Like, the majority of them were Hispanic, don't speak a lot of English, never ran a social media platform, let alone managed ads or even made an ad account, right? So that was like the main reason I hated it. But point is, I wasn't speaking as my most authentic self. So I think being unapologetically yourself is 10 times more powerful than any marketing scheme or any technique, strategy, funnel, anything like that. Truthfully, being unapologetically yourself is way more powerful, because at the end of the day, you guys know this, people buy from people, right? Like, it's been said for so long, and everybody knows this now. People buy from you before they buy from your offer, right? And I think I was so afraid to go against the normal types of content that was being published, of like, Iman Gadzhi started this whole showing your life behind the scenes, and I didn't really have that life yet because I was working in a corner of my room in the trenches, and I would go out of my way to spend money and showcase a life that I wasn't living, right? And I think being afraid to go against the norm and just like, hey, why don't I just show myself in the corner of my room in the trenches working 16-hour days? Why don't I show that? Why don't I talk about the things that I want to talk about? Why don't I talk in the tonality that I want to talk about? I remember showing up to meetings, showing up to like YouTube, sitting in front of a camera like this back in the day, and putting on a jacket and tie, and speaking like I'm like some pro business person or pro businessman, when the reality of it is I was just a regular 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, I guess, at that point. And I was doing things that a lot of 18-year-old kids weren't doing. And all of my friends now, I mean most of them at least, are in the online scene, and everyone I follow on Instagram is running an online businesses. Majority of them are very successful, and I would see them and compare myself to them and be like, damn, what I'm doing isn't jack shit. But the truth of it is, like, there are so many people who want to hear your words in the exact position you are in, because they're either in that position or they're far from it, right? They're below that position, and they want to hear the words coming from your mouth. And I apologize if my head's all over the place. It's like 12 a.m. right now. I just wrapped up a shit ton of calls. I decided to build a new software today, so I'm building that right now, and I really just wanted to come out here. This is usually the time when I come out and journal, but I thought I would video what I'm doing right now, record my journal instead. And actually, because I think there's a lot of bits and pieces throughout this video that you guys can take, like, trust me, I'll get to like tactical advice in terms of like cash flow and money and all that stuff that you guys really care about. But that is a big part of it, is just being unapologetically yourself, because authenticity is the highest frequency. I mean, like, you look at a vibrational frequency chart, I think that the highest is like bliss or enlightenment, but authenticity is the highest. When you can align with who you really are and speak from who you really are and speak about what your truest self actually wants to speak about, that's when you're operating at a much higher frequency than most. So yeah, that aside, going into cash flow, one thing that I would advise to every single one of you guys is to cash flow first, right? Stay very clear of the shiny object syndrome. Do not fall victim to shiny object syndrome. Do not fall victim to the Miami guru effect. Like, literally, I started off by dreaming about hitting 10K a month. That was like the biggest dream of all time, was to hit 10K a month. And the way that my mind was back then was so much clearer than it was when I was doing like 25K a month. And it's weird, because when I was doing 10K, or when I was dreaming of doing 10K a month, I was thinking not even close to the materialistic things that I wanted, but to the point of like living a stress-free life. Like, if I was making 10K a month, I could live well below my means, live a happy life. I don't need the fancy car, I don't need the fancy apartment. I'll live a happy life, and I'll be able to buy what I want. Like, I was living in Hawaii, I could go buy a Pokeball, I could go and surf and not worry about anything. But when I was doing 25K a month, I started to fall victim to shiny object syndrome. I started to fall victim to, do I need the high rise? Like, do I need this, right? Do I need to get a new car? Do I need to buy this certain watch? Like, do I need to do this? And that's something that I would, advise for all of you guys, that I'm glad that I'm able to do it now, is to be able to stand firm and really not give into any shiny liabilities. And this was taught to me freshman year. Like, everybody reads this book. I've read, I don't know how many books now, but the first book I ever read in terms about the financial world was Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? Like everybody else. And my dad gave that book to me when I was in like 7th grade. And he was like, read this book. And then I said no. I read like 2 pages and then went and played Fortnite. And then freshman year, I was like, shit, high school sucks, I'm not going to college, let me actually just read this book, might as well. And it taught me the biggest lesson that I know now, not the biggest, but one of the biggest in terms of cash flow, is like, there's a massive difference between assets and liabilities. And I look at the people who make their first 10K a month, make their first 30K a month, maybe even their first 50K a month, and they go and tie themselves into a year-long lease at a penthouse, or they tie themselves into a car lease and they're paying, $1,000 to $3,000 a month on a Urus that they can't afford, and it's all liabilities. So steering away from liabilities and allowing your cash to flow, to not give a fuck what other people think, is a massive flex. That's a bigger flex than any high-rise or penthouse or car you can show. Is to internally know that you don't give a fuck what people think is huge. Yeah, I remember like all the money that I would spend is was reinvested back into information. Like at this point, I think I spent like 40K on mentors, maybe more, yeah, above 40K on mentors now. And I understood the reason for that was because I understood that time is way more valuable than money, right? Your time is 100,000 times more valuable than money will ever be, right? Because time is scarce, money is not. So once I understood that, I never would let a paywall get between me and information that is life-changing, information that can add an additional 10, 20, 30K to my monthly income. That's life-changing information. So I would never let a $5,000, $10,000, maybe even $15,000 paywall get in between that, because I knew that if I were to do it on my own and let the paywall stop me, the time that I would sacrifice to get there would be at a higher cost than what the paywall really is, right? So never letting a paywall get in between you and life-changing information is massive. And also not just reinvesting into information, but also reinvesting into tools that replace people, right? Buying software, building software that will replace your virtual assistants, that will replace your setters, replace your closers. Buying tools, investing into tools that will actually replace human team, such as like lead scraper tools, DM setting tools, acquisition tools. Like I've built tools on my own using like vibe coding. I'm sure you guys know what that is. It's like you can use AI to build your own software, and I've done that time and time again to help myself. I use it for my own, and only my clients get access to it. I don't even sell it. It's just like, hey, use it if you want to. Tools literally to scrape a bunch of thousands of DMs without getting banned, scrape and filter through all those DMs, and create customized messages to that person, all that stuff. And I've also paid a bunch of money to hire back-end development teams to build software for me that handles client acquisition, right? Because I know for client acquisition, I would need to hire a massive team to do all the things that the software would do, but instead I invested into a tool or even a person who has the tool, so that I don't have to end up paying a person to do that, because it costs more to pay a person. The reason for investing into tools instead of people was mainly to keep operations lean, right? I'm super heavy on having a lean team and staying as far away from clutter as you can, because there are so many what I call data nerds in this space. And what that is like just the guys who track every little KPI that they could possibly get their hands on, when the reality of it is, to scale to 30K a month, and I'm saying this from experience because I've done this time and time again, and I've done this for so many fucking clients at this point, there are only like 4 to 6 numbers that you need to track, and that's it. And it takes maybe 5 minutes out of your day, or you can have a software do it, or you can just have a VA do it, right? There are so many data nerds that convinced so many people, so much misinformation out here to tell you that to get to 30K per month, you need to have 3 to 4 team members. You need to track all of these numbers. It's going to be hard work. But for us, 30K per month, you live a very good life. And if you can make your operations lean in order to make 30K per month, you have an even better life, because staying away from clutter means you're staying away from stress. And when you're staying away from stress, you're getting closer to a happier life. And that's really just how simple it is. Like I've scaled to 30K a month solo before, just to test. Like the first month I started a new offer, I had no acquisition manager. I will tell you, it wasn't the greatest, because having an acquisition manager would have been way more fun. Margins would have been lower, but did not matter to me. But I've scaled to 30K per month within 1 month with only myself, nothing else. My own tools, myself, and that's it. And it goes into really having the right systems that can allow you to have a lean operation. People usually have a cluttered operation because their systems are cluttered in itself. Your systems suck, and that's the reason why you have to hire so many people. And also, it's about what you value, right? If you value the cash flow of $100,000 a month over the freedom aspect, then that's your route. Go down it. There's no hate towards you whatsoever. Good on you, right? But for me, I value freedom so much more than I value having a massive company. That's just the raw, honest truth from my end. Is just, I value being able to pay for this apartment without looking like at the rent. I do not care about what the rent is for this apartment. I just pay it because I know I have 30K in my bank account, or 30K coming in consistently each month. I don't care, right? I don't care about spending, I don't know, $5,000 to go and travel to Bali, travel to Greece. I don't care about it, because I'm able to live a life of freedom where I don't have to manage 5 other people. I value freedom so much more than making more money. And that might be different to people, but just my idea behind it is I value the quality of life over income. And obviously, the higher the income, the higher quality of life. That's what people think nowadays, but I think that's wrong. I think when you value quality of life, you don't value income. You value how you get the income and how easy and stress-free it is you get that income. And yeah, I think that might be different, but I would kind of attest that information on why I think that to rewiring my identity operating system. Like, I rewired my internal operating system, my subconscious, before I even started to try and make any money whatsoever. And that was a sacrifice I took of, like, I started with a couple buddies of mine, like 3 buddies of mine. We're like, okay, we're all gonna get into online business. Let's all figure this out together. And I sacrificed like more than 4 months. Holy shit, like 6 to 9 months, less than a year. Yeah, but I'd say about 6 to 9 months of not working on a business, but instead, or I was working on a business, but not focusing too much on the income and the outcome, but focusing on my internal operating system, which would create the inputs that I would put into that business. So rewiring your operating system, it's just like you have a computer, you have a phone, right? Your phone needs an iOS update, right? It needs an update to keep up with the new things that you want to do. If you want to do bigger and better, you need to update the software, right? Your subconscious is the same thing. Your subconscious is the software behind the actions that you take. So you need to upgrade your internal operating system, your internal iOS, in order to be able to, get the result that you would like that aligns with your internal operating system. If your operating system is aligned with the version of you making $5K a month, there's no strategy in the world that's going to help you make $30K a month. I'll tell you that right now. But if you're aligned with someone making $30K a month, cash collected consistently with ease, then that is going to be your result. It is simple as that. I don't know any easier way to put that. And that actually does correlate into your conviction. And conviction is huge. Having conviction bleeds into your DMs, right? Like, first of all, in order to have good conviction, you need to have a good fucking offer. Like, you need an offer that will stand out from the crowd. It'll have you stand out as one of one. And if you don't have a good offer, you need to go find someone who will help you build an offer. Someone like us who will actually go in and review your entire offer and see what needs to be fixed, what could be better, and help you build a lucrative offer. But when you do have a lucrative offer and you're getting insane results, you speak with so much conviction. And I'm big on energy in the eyes. When you speak to somebody, you can tell their energy off rip. And when you're even in the DMs, when you're DM people, you can tell the energy through the DMs, through the words they're using, how they're putting it onto the text or whatever in the message. You can tell the energy behind it. You can tell if they're truly convicted behind their offer, and that kind of conviction bleeds through your DMs, through your YouTube videos. You can see how I'm speaking here and how convicted I am with what I do now, compared to when I was running the agency. I'm telling you right now, go and watch the videos if you want to, of me running my agency. I was thinking about taking them down, but I think it just shows character at this point. Go and watch how convicted I was in those videos to now. Trust me, it's a massive difference. And also, your conviction, your personal conviction with your offer needs to bleed into your acquisition manager. We have one main team, one hire, which is a good acquisition manager that is genuinely backed with your offer, right? Every single time that I have an acquisition manager or my clients get an acquisition manager, we make sure that acquisition manager knows more about our offer, or try to get them to know more about our offer than we do. Try to get them to want to buy your offer even if they don't have an offer. Be like, damn, this, like, I want all of my acquisition managers, and I've had them before, where they come to me and they're like, I would fucking buy this offer if I had a coaching program. This is sick. This is a dope offer. I love it. That's how you want them to be, because then when they're DMing your prospects, then their conviction is on a higher par, right? A lot of the times you guys have acquisition managers who are plugged in, who just want that 5% commission, and their conviction is to an all-time low. That's why they're booking maybe fucking 3 calls a day compared to what our acquisition manager is doing, where they're booking 10 to 15 calls. Right? We are cooking you simply because of our conviction. We have the same amount of lead flow, except our acquisition managers are so convicted behind our offer just as much as we are. And that is a massive, massive difference that you'll make in your business. If you can get your acquisition manager to be so backed behind your offer where they never want to leave, you did a good job training them, right? I want to touch on mentorship really quick, because it's talked about so much. There's so much information spewed around about mentors. I think mentorship, I know mentorship will shorten your suffering curve. Everyone goes through a suffering curve where they're in a point, in a rut, where you're trying to figure out what needs to be done, but you're misinformed. You don't have the right information. That you don't know what will take you to where you need to go. You genuinely don't know, right? And you could spend time and time. You could spend hours on end, days, weeks, months, even years potentially wasted trying to figure out how to do it on your own. Versus if you just, I talked about it before, don't let the paywall stop you, and have someone hold your hand throughout a process. Like, I never suffered with not knowing what to do, and this is just speaking from personal experience. I've never suffered from not knowing what to do because I was never scared of paying someone to have one-on-one access. And one-on-one access, when you're speaking directly with somebody who knows what you need to do, is so much more powerful than group coaching or getting into a community. That's why I don't sell a course or any of this bullshit, because when you sell a course, you're throwing people to watch a bunch of YouTube videos or exclusive fucking modules, whatever. You're telling people to go watch all this exclusive stuff, and they get group access, but they don't have access to you. So, or maybe it's you're trying to get into these courses. You're not going to get the same information as you would pay an extra couple $1,000s and get one-on-one with that mentor, because then you have a direct mentor. You can ask them questions whenever you need. They're literally laying out stepping stones for you. You never not know what you need to do when you have a one-on-one mentor. So to know what to do and to know how to do it at the highest efficient way possible is something that I will always pay for the rest of my entire life. I'll always pay for access with somebody who can tell me what to do and how to do it efficiently. I will never have an ego and not pay someone just because I have an ego and I'm egotistical. I'll pay people who are younger than me if they know something that I don't know or how to do it better than me, without a doubt. So not having an ego and allowing people to help you, reaching your hand out is massive. It's really massive. And one thing I learned from actually having a mentor is having a bigger picture outside of what you're doing currently, outside of just making money, having a larger goal, whether that be buying your mom a house, buying your dad a truck, eventually, for me, I'll just speak from personal, reinvesting into passive income streams that will allow me to live the life that I want to have planned for myself, right? The life that I have planned for myself is to be completely free of any financial stress and to travel wherever the fuck I want, when I want. So knowing that I have a broader picture in mind where my 30K per month isn't going to come in and go straight to a car, go straight to an apartment, or straight to a dinner or a nice toy, whatever the case is. I know that eventually it's going to go into building this bigger image that I have outside, right? This bigger image that I know I want to achieve after what I'm doing currently. So having that broader image of what you want to do outside of making money is huge. And that goes into, for me, was not letting your lifestyle eat up all your cash flow. I make about 30K a month and I live well below my means. I mean, other than this apartment's relatively expensive. It's like 4K a month. But for me, I can afford it. It's no issue for me. And the main reason I'm here is so that I'm surrounded with people that I know are on the same frequency as me, compared to when I was out in Anaheim. Seeing a bunch of guys walk home with their back and neck slumped. Every time I go in the elevator here, it's some fucking crypto millionaire or some jacked dude. I don't know. Like, these guys are dialed, right? And that's the main reason I spend $4,000 a month, because I don't look at it as a liability. I look at it as an asset for information for myself, right? So other than this apartment, I guess, I live well below my means. And I don't go and, tie myself to a penthouse. I don't go and tie myself to a car payment just because I want to show people how much money I make. I could give a fuck. I do not care. I tell you guys that I make 30K a month just to prove to you that if you are in a situation where you're making 6 to 10K a month, I can help you get to exactly where I am, because I've done it time and time again. That's the only reason I tell you guys. It's not to flex, right? I don't need to flex this apartment. I literally, I barely show this place. It is a dope place though. It's a pretty solid hub. And it doesn't mean me not sacrificing the fancy lifestyle to eat up my cash flow. Doesn't mean that I don't do fun things. Like, I'll go and spend and I'll go and travel. Those are fun to me. Like, a lot of the fun things that I do are free too. Like, I have a bunch of guns I go and shoot. Pretty free. It's like $10 every time I go shoot. I go and surf. I go and snowboard. Those are fun to me, right? And I guess chilling out here looking at this apartment is pretty fun. but the majority of the time I'm sitting in my office right here. Like here, I'll show you what my office looks like. It's literally right here. That is where I spend 99% of my time, is just sitting in there in my office, head down, not even looking at this view, because I could care less about it. But yeah, that's one massive piece that I would really like you to kind of get ingrained in your head, is just don't let your fancy lifestyle that you want eat up all your cash flow, because that will fuck you in the long run, I promise you. And on the topic of that, actually, saving will not get you rich. Being scarce to spend your bread is not going to get you rich. I think scaling is what's going to get you rich. Saving money is ultimately going to kill you, in my opinion. Obviously, I have money thrown aside. Investing is smart and whatnot, but I'm a massive advocate for throwing yourself in a corner, and like putting fire under your ass is what I call it. It's like sacrificing a chunk of bread to an opportunity that will save you time in the long run, other than saving it and potentially, making more. Dude, like I'll put $10,000 into the S&P 500 or whatever. 3 months on the line, maybe I made $200. Versus if I were to invest $10,000 into a direct one-on-one mentor who had the information that I needed, I will triple, if not quadruple, that money within like 2 to 3 months, without a doubt, right? So instead of having the scarcity mindset, I need to save to be able to spend this money, you need to figure out how you can scale to be able to spend that money. The cause of you not being able to spend the money is literally the symptoms of you wanting to save. Yeah, it's one thing a lot of people fuck up with this, is if you can not shy away from opportunities just because it costs money, but to instead think of how it will make you more money, or how you can make more money to afford it instead of saving, that's gonna change a lot in your game, because saving, like I said, is not gonna get you rich. Scaling is what gets you rich. Making more money is what's gonna make you more money, right? And sometimes you do have to spend money to make money. That's just how it is. Now, to get slightly tactical with you guys really quick about your offers, you need to sell what converts, not what feels good. You need to have a good fucking offer. That is just point blank, period. Like, I'll talk about an offer that I had in the past. I used to do subconscious reprogramming for people. I would reprogram people's subconscious because I know how well it worked for me, and I loved it. It was like my favorite thing to do, because it's so hard to teach that, but when I figured out how to teach it and exactly what I did, I wrote down everything that I did for myself and realized I could sell this information, I loved it. It was so much fun because I was changing lives without necessarily giving them strategies or structures or anything like that, but reprogramming the subconscious. I thought it was an amazing offer, but because I loved it. But the truth of it wasn't converting as well. It wasn't a marketing issue. It wasn't a funnel issue. It was the offer that was the issue. The offer wasn't what the marketplace needed at the time. And for me, that was a hard thing for me to be like, you know what, that's true. I need to move away from this and, share something else that I know, because this isn't what's gonna get me to where I want to go, and it's not what the marketplace needs right now. So to sacrifice that and to understand, like, hey, maybe my offer isn't good enough, and maybe I could have sat down for 6 months and figured out how to make it better and totally made it, work better for the marketplace, but I decided I had better knowledge to share, which is what I'm doing now. And it works so much better because I'm helping people who have that specific pain point right now, currently, right? So having a good fucking offer, you need to have an offer that works. You need to sell what converts and not what just feels good to yourself. And a lot of the times people will find something and find out that their offer really isn't that good, maybe find out that their acquisition process isn't that good, and they will go into a consumerism rut. And that's where you just sit back and you start doom scrolling, start watching more Netflix, and you just kind of fucking slowly bleed away. And that's something where you need to consistently be creating daily and consume occasionally, strategically, right? There's two types of people. There's creators and there are consumers. That's it. Creators and consumers. If you find yourself ever consuming more than you're creating, you are ruining your life. I promise you right now. You're gonna go down a very dark hole, and it's gonna be harder to dig yourself out of there. you need to be the one that creates at all times. Whether you're showing the ruts, showing yourself, showing the vulnerable times, being transparent with your audience, but as long as you're consistently creating and building new things instead of consuming what other people are doing, you will always be ahead of the game. You'll always be ahead of that other 50% of the consumers. I would say the consumers are about like 80%, but yeah, you'll be ahead. Trust me on that. So just create daily, consume occasionally, but strategically. Now, I want to jump back really quick to when I was running my flooring business agency, my flooring marketing agency. I was so desperate to get my first close of like $2,000 that every time I would hop on a sales call, I think I took like 40 sales calls or 30 sales calls, something around there, I don't remember. But I didn't close a single one until I got word from a mentor of mine who told me, do not be outcome based. Like, he reviewed all my calls, or majority of them, and said I was way too outcome based. I was literally just trying to get that payment in so that I could feel like this online business thing works. But once I realized to move away from being outcome based, and to move away from thinking about how good it's going to feel to get that 3K payment hit the Stripe account, to only think about the present moment of how you're going to help this person as best as you can, is when you start doing so much better. Your close rate will go up. Your close rate will skyrocket. If you're currently outcome based, I promise you, if you can just focus on how can I get this guy better results and talk about that, the outcome will come. Trust me on that. So moving away from being outcome based and literally just like even with your current clients, not thinking about the back end sales, not thinking about the upsell that you're going to do eventually, but how, when you're working with the current client, how can you get them the best results possible? Because eventually they will come to you asking about what's next. How can I work with you more? I know our time is up. What do I need to move forward? Like, how much is it? Like, I'll work with you more. But a lot of guys think about, okay, eventually I'm going to upsell this person. Eventually, right? And that is such a bad way to look at this. And that's what gives coaches a bad rep, is when you're only thinking about profit, you're only thinking about how good it's going to feel to get that 5K hit your account. But to actually fucking care about your clients is something that you don't see a lot of the times, especially now, which is very sad. But trust me when I tell you that the more you care about your clients, the more you focus on your clients, the more you get paid. I don't know how. It's just how it is. Trust me on that. And that also goes into just over delivery with your clients as a whole. Over delivery should be a standard. I remember I had a goal in mind for myself. I wrote it down, where every single offer that I've ever had, whether it was $2,000, $3,000, $6,000, or $20,000, every single offer that I've had, I always had a goal to get the client to say, I would have paid more for this information. And that's something where not a lot of people do as well, is because people will get that payment and get not purposefully, but they will under-deliver. Like, they'll think they're delivering enough, but they're under-delivering, right? But to have a goal of saying like, okay, if I have a client that paid me 5K, I want them to think that they would have paid 15K for this information. Give them that much bigger of a result, because that's when you get the back-end sales. That's when you get the upsells. That's when you build lifelong relationships with guys that you've helped them make life-changing money because you were focused on solely over-delivering. So having each client wanting to feel like, damn, I should have fucking paid more than 5K, this is crazy, is the best feeling in the world. And it's not something they usually tell you, it's just something you can tell. They show up to every call thankful, they show up grateful, they show up actually wanting to, apply the knowledge that you give them because you know it works, because you over-deliver like crazy. Like, in the past, I remember going so far over contracted deliverables. Like, I would have contracted deliverables of maybe 12 one-on-ones or whatever, and I would give guys like 20. Just because I want them to feel like they should have paid more. And that's the end goal. That's the result that I achieved, is people would like, damn, I wish I paid more. Like, that's the feeling that I want them to feel. And I'm assuming that's what they do feel, hopefully. I would assume so, right? And also, let's talk about standards really quickly and killing your old self. I touched on your identity operating system in the past, or a little bit ago. You need to have a standard for yourself at every milestone that you achieve. Whether that's, you scale to 15K a month, every time you hit 15K a month, if your standard was set to 5K a month, let's say you magically scaled to 15K a month, if your standard was set at 5K, you're going to stoop back down to your standard. That's just how it is. So building a new standard at every milestone achievement and killing your old self, because usually it's your old self that is limiting you from getting to where you want to go next. And I honestly don't even want to talk about this too much. I'm going to leave a video right here. Go watch that video. This video is probably a year old at this point, and that's what I'm talking about, solely how to up your standard and how much that has helped me like genuinely building and creating a new standard and killing your old self is going to be a fucking game changer. I'm excited. Go watch that video. Trust me. I'll leave it in the bio as well. No, actually, fuck that. I'm gonna just leave it right here. I'm gonna leave a different video in the bio. Go watch that video. It will change your standard. It will change your perspective on how you need to think about money. And talks about pedestals, talks about everything. You need to kill your old self, and you need to build new standards at every point in your life. And finally, I want to end this off with time is your business partner, right? If there is any way that you can limit the amount of time it takes to do something, you need to take that opportunity. If there's any opportunity at hand where it will limit the amount of time it takes for you to do something, you need to take that opportunity. And it goes all the way back to not being scarce, being okay with yourself spending money, not being afraid, not letting a paywall get in between you and information. Money loves speed and money loves momentum, right? So if you can move with speed in everything that you do, whether it's making a decision, whether you need to go and think about it for an hour and a half or a week, whatever the fuck your objection is, money loves speed and money loves momentum. All of the guys that I've worked with have so much speed with what they do. All the guys that crush it, at least, have so much speed and so much momentum behind it, and that's why they get so much results. Money loves speed. So if there's any opportunity at hand that will allow you to decrease the amount of time it takes to achieve something, you need to take that, because time is way more valuable than money. Okay, and actually, no, I was going to end it on that. I'm going to end it with the most important thing, in my opinion, is keep God in your life. Without a doubt, the biggest. I mean, you could have any strategy. You could rewire your subconscious, whatever. If you're focused too much on how much you're making versus your relationship with Christ, I think that will be the biggest lever you could pull in your life and in your business. Once I decided to get on my hands and knees and truthfully give my entire business to God, that's when everything changed. So do what you want with that info. I don't talk too much about religion here, but that's just my personal beliefs, and that's just what I know is true. But yeah, hopefully you guys took something from this. This was something I just wanted to rant to you guys, be a personal journal. And yeah, if you guys have any thing that you related to in this video, comment it down below. I'll leave a video below that you can kind of understand what I do and how I do what I do. I'll leave it right here as well. It'll pop up right in the middle where my face is. But yeah, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.